you guys, I mean, I talked about my whole journey of like wanting to be YouTube famous and everything, but you guys used to do like the twin TikToks and you had 100,000 followers and you would do the dances. Insert that here.
No.
I rebuke. But so I don't like personally, I don't think that stuff is really bad. Like I still do podcasts where they have nothing to do with God. And my mentality is that like if unbelievers come in through that stuff and then they hear about God, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But you were making these twin dances and hauling videos and what did you feel during that period of your life?
That was kind of BC for
Yeah.
us because we started in 2020 and it was when COVID hit and we were...
But you say VC, but you were already like known as the Christian girls in your high school. You already didn't smoke, didn't drink,
Yeah, but
didn't
we
like...
weren't like walking in our relationship with God. We
were just like nominal Christians that
Yeah.
were morally good, but we were not Christians following Christ.
Yeah.
We didn't have a relationship with God
Yeah.
at that point. And so we would just make dances because that's what we did our whole lives, and we were
Yeah.
just doing it for fun. So we would film ourselves doing dances at the sunset, and it
Yeah.
wasn't anything like crazy, like, you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't like we were doing
It wasn't like
inappropriate dances.
prerogative or anything, yeah.
Yeah, it was literally just twin cute stuff, and then eventually we decided to stop doing that because God changed our hearts and our lives,
He
and now
convicted.
Yeah, but okay, but if you say like you truly did it for fun, then why do you feel convicted about it?
Well, I mean,
there was a lot of different aspects to it. It wasn't just like God convicting us
Yeah.
to change our trajectory of our social media platforms. It was also like the kind of audience we were drawing from that was one that we didn't want to build. Like now we want to build a community of people who want to follow God and people who want to know Him and grow in a relationship with Him. But those dances were not bringing the kind of community we want to build.
Yeah.
So
That's like I think about that a lot too. Like cuz I do want to bring in unbelievers, but I struggled with the workaholism. You idolize something and you put that thing as your what you want to achieve. So those are the people I want to reach because I know how much God saved me in that world, and I want to save other people in that world. So I want to interview these big celebrities, because I used to watch the interviews of the biggest celebrities. How did they get their following? What did they do to be successful? When I do interview someone who has like, they have 1 million streams on Spotify, 1 million monthly listeners, I'll ask them specifically. Before I mention Jesus, I'll ask like, how has your relationships suffered as a result of pursuing this dream? And I get a variety of answers. Most of the time people say like, I wish I had spent more time with my loved ones. I wish I wasn't so eager. And that fulfills like Christ coming in. But a lot of them also just come in and they're like, I'm happy. Like I sacrifice time with friends and like, I like hit these goals and stuff. So it is like hard to navigate, but the reason you have that variety is because if you are hitting the thing that's most important to you, then you are going to be happy until it doesn't fulfill you.
Yeah.
But I think that like for me, I do like to attract that audience because those are the people that I want to help and to save and like, I mean, I don't save them, but bring them to Jesus to be saved.
yeah.
So I think about that a lot.
Yeah. And also I think that like God changed our perspective on our purpose for creating content in general, because like when we were doing dances and all the other stuff, it was selfish. Like we were just like, oh, let's do a fun haul, like we can get clothes and like it's cute and whatever, which is fine. Like we still do occasionally hauls, but it's not in the same way because
like even people with big followings, like you were saying, that I've asked, it's like they are still feeling like how we felt when we were still growing. We had a small following and they were like, it's never a sure thing, social media, so like you can't depend on it. You always feel like if you're not getting a certain amount of views or likes or whatever, it's not gonna last. And I'm like, if you're thinking that and you have that many followers and I think that now, like how am I gonna get to there and think that I'm gonna feel better, because I'm not. So that
it's just like a difference in perspective, like the purpose for your content. Is it for yourself or is it to provide value for the other people watching you and following you, you know? And our purpose is to point people to God.
Mhm.
So,
That's how I feel. Like I meet people all the time who have
mhm.
way more followers than me, but the same thing they say like, oh, like it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel secure. I make zero. I actually just got monetized, so I don't know. I'm probably making like $30 a month on YouTube,
Really?
but like, what I can get like lunch for that, but I feel safe and secure.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit that I'm definitely biased because I live at home right now and I have freelance opportunities to make money in other ways, but I feel safe and secure because I feel that if I was broke, even if I was homeless, and this is one thing to say and another thing to do, but I feel that really, if I had no money, if I didn't have my parents to fall back, I just feel like God would make a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen him make ways in so many areas of my life that have nothing to do with money, that it's just like, why would he, if he needed me to have money here, he would give it to me. Like that's just really genuinely how I feel. And then as a result, I meet people who make way more money than me and they feel less secure than I do.
Yeah.
And I meet people who are way more famous and they feel less fulfilled than I do. And it just
Yeah.
comes back to being like it's Jesus. Like I have Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And even like loneliness is like, I still definitely get feelings of loneliness, like when I'm at home and I want to be in the communities, but I always can just come back to like, in high school, I didn't have Jesus to come back to.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just always am like, there's so many times when I feel lonely. And like, ever since my brother died, like the really struggle I feel like right now is like, I don't feel like I'm avoiding my thoughts, but my screen time like tripled.
Mm.
And so I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm uncomfortable facing my morning thoughts or whatever thoughts. And then I open Instagram and like watch YouTube. My screen time went like, I was like a 2 hour kind of a day. And now I'm like a 6 to 8 hour. I'm like, what the heck, since my
Yeah.
brother died. And it's so funny because in the moment I go on Instagram and I scroll and like, I feel fine,
Mm-hmm.
But the second like I put it down, like the emptiness comes back and comes. And there's times where out of habit, not even out of relationship, out of habit, I pray when I wake up and I pray when I go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to make those prayers more relational because I don't want to just like, this is what I do, this is how I pray. But even when like I would come back to the habits I established and I would pray before bed and be the first time I pray after I turn my phone off. I can't tell you how many times I've prayed that prayer. I literally do it every day. I prayed that prayer and I'm like, I wish I did this instead of going on Instagram. Like I spent 2 hours going on Instagram trying to get rid of this emptiness. And now I do my habitual prayer.
Yeah.
And I feel way better than any of those times when I went on Instagram.
Yeah.
But it's just so hard to really like put it in.
Yep. I know.
Yeah.
I literally, like, that was in my message that I was going to do, but I didn't end up doing. Like, how many times you go on your phone, scroll, and then put it down and say, I just feel so great. Like, that's literally never. You
Like, never.
feel that. But when you're reading your Bible, it's, like, completely different. When you
Right.
start your day, you notice a difference if you have read your Bible, like, first thing, at least for me. When you're throughout your day, instead of starting on the phone, because
Yeah.
once you're on your phone, it's like, I don't know, it makes me anxious, like ruins my whole day. I
Yep.
feel like I can't do it.
It's lasting too. Like when you like have like a revelation during a sermon and you're praying and like and it ends, like yeah, maybe the moment's not as like insane or like the music's not as crazy or whatever, but like when you have like a revelation, you feel like a closeness with God, you leave and you're like, I feel awesome. I feel fulfilled. But when you like consume, I've like looked at memes on Instagram that are like the funniest things I've ever seen, and I'm looking at them like 10 out of 10 maximum joy. But then like I close the app and it lasts like 1 minute and it's like
Yeah.
whatever. Like
But it's still like numbing.
yeah, it's like numbing.
yourself in a way,
Yeah.
like, and preventing you from being
Yes.
close to God.
Yeah.
It's just like food though. It's literally the same thing with food. It's like you eat the most delicious like ice cream sandwich or whatever, and then like
You swallow it and it's gone.
you swallow it, it's gone, and it's like it lingers in your mouth for like a minute, and then like 10 minutes later you're like, I wish I didn't eat it.
And it
Yeah.
gives you a stomach ache.
Yeah, it's like
Real.
it's yeah.
After effects.